Hey guys, today I want to talk about something that I just got back from not too long ago now. It's been a couple of weeks, but it was the LKL trapping experience. They have a link on or a page on Facebook, LKL Lima Kilo Lima Trapping Experience, and it's put on by Leon Winchell, who is the owner of Top Lot Fur Stretchers. So that's one of the L's. The other L is Liesel Rousset's baits, Extreme Performance, I think they're called baits, and lures. And I don't know which one's the first L and which one's the last L. I'll let those two sort that out. But Leon and Liesel, and the K is Kendall Obermeyer of No BS Lures, and he makes the KO Extreme Traps. So I got some notes here, so hopefully I don't forget anything. But the instruction was on coyote, bobcat, raccoon, and mink trapping. And the coyote and bobcat could also, I think, apply just as easily to fox. We did talk about badgers a little bit because there were some badgers in the area. It was held in Minneapolis, Kansas, at a place called Pipe Creek Outfitters. And I'll just talk about the accommodations. I had that a little bit further down, but since I brought it up already, the accommodations were fantastic. It's a beautiful place. Huge whitetail mounts, beautiful taxidermy everywhere. It's a deer hunting outfitter, and they kill some massive bucks and just have a really, really nice setup as far as the accommodations. The food was wonderful. It was prepared by Kendall's girlfriend and Leon's wife, and it was great. I mean, the food was great. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, every meal I had was just very, very good. And like I said, the accommodations were really nice. All of the fur handling instruction was done in indoor, kind of a garage type area that they have there. So you're out of the wind, out of the rain. It was a very nice place to do that. And then the trapping instruction took place on a couple of different creeks that are on the property. Just short drives from the lodge, and the bobcat and coyote predator trapping that took place, in a couple of different areas. Same general area, but just a couple minutes different directions to show you a couple different places and different travel ways and how you might set those up. So the instruction was really good. One thing that I took away from it personally is, and I've learned this over the years in a couple different aspects. Trapping is one. I work in the shooting industry. I've been in the military, and I work with police and SWAT teams and things like that. NRA certified instructor on a bunch of different shooting disciplines. And whenever people watch YouTube videos, which I know I'm on YouTube right now, but whenever they watch a lot of YouTube videos, sometimes I think people can mistake knowledge for experience. And I'm really thinking about doing a video just on that topic later on. But right now, what I want to say is knowledge is not experience. So you can watch somebody do something, or watch a bunch of different people do it over and over again, and have the knowledge, have the understanding of how it works and the technical aspects of how to do something. But until you actually physically do that thing, you don't have any experience. So whenever you're looking at a school, and I guess I'll talk a little bit about now how I came to, pick the LKL trapping experience over some of the other things that are out there. So I looked at the F&T, or the Fur Takers of America's Trappers College. I looked at Mark June's. I looked at Kansas Trapline Products. I can't think of the guy's name right now. He's got a little school. there's several of them. There's at least a dozen, I'm guessing, different trapping instruction schools that you could attend. Location played a role for me because I didn't have a lot of time to travel. I didn't want to buy a plane ticket. I wanted someplace I could drive to. And price played a big role too, because honestly, when I looked at all the classes, what they had to offer, I thought that Fur Trappers College was probably the thing that I wanted to do the most, but it's $1,400, which I don't have that kind of money to just, I don't want to say piss away, because you definitely learn a lot, but I didn't have that kind of money to pursue trapping instruction. So LKL was $850, and which is the least expensive of any of the ones that I was looking at. I think Mark June's is $1,200, and some of the other ones I looked at were around $1,000. Now the Kansas Trapline one was less expensive, but it was also shorter, and it was just cow instruction, which wouldn't be a bad thing. But I thought, with LKL you get, 4 different species if you count bobcats. I mean, if you're just saying predators, fox, coyote, and bobcat, which, fox and coyote are very similar, I think, in how you do things. Bobcat has, twists and tweaks that you can do, but you can catch if you go out and make a good dirt hole set for a coyote, you can catch a fox in it, you can catch a bobcat in it, you can catch a coyote in it. So those three kind of being lumped together, you also get raccoon and mink, and the raccoon and mink instruction were very different as far as raccoon to mink, the way that you would make the set. Similar in some ways, but very different in other ways. And, they were, that's just, very divergent species in the way that you go about trapping them. So I wanted to get the most exposure. I'm not a mink trapper. I'm going to try to catch some mink this year. It was a neat thing for me to see and to get some good instruction on, because we do have mink in this area. I've seen them. I've literally watched mink run down the banks of these rivers. Not a ton, but if you see them, I think there's quite a few. There's a lot of places where guys catch mink and you never see them. So I think they're just about everywhere. But if you're seeing them, you probably have more than you think. So I'm going to try to go after some mink this year. I'm not a big numbers guy. I never have been. I don't have the time. I refuse to make the time. Let me make sure I'm clear on that. I say we had a saying in the military: "I can't" means I won't, and I think that's true in 99.9% of cases. So, but I'm okay with that. I'm not, pissing and moaning and crying that I don't have the time, because if I was pissing and moaning and crying, I would make the time. But I'm not gonna, and I'm okay with that. So, anyway, the mink was very good, and I think I'm going to go after some mink this year. The raccoon was very good, and it was very different from how I had been trapping raccoons, and it was different from any way that I even really thought about trapping raccoons. Not way off in left field crazy, but just the method of holding the raccoon in the water and the way the set was made was simpler than things that I have done in the past, and I think is going to be more effective. So it was a neat thing to learn, from a guy who's caught thousands and thousands of coons, so I know they work. Getting back to the knowledge and experience thing, though, I recommend, if you're looking at a class, if you're looking at some place to go to take instruction, or even, looking for somebody to take private instruction from, Liesel Roussat lives in South Dakota, traps South Dakota, Kansas, Texas, all over the country, puts up big numbers, over 400 coyotes a year, typically. So he's caught lots and lots of coyotes, and he's caught them in areas that are very similar to where I live. And I'm not planning any out-of-state trapping trips, so I want to learn from somebody who's trapping or has trapped and has methods that work or proven to work in the areas that are similar to what my home habitat is here. Because if I went and took instruction from O'Gorman, for example, out in Montana, I'm sure I would learn volumes, right? But for that to be the first trip I took, to get the first instruction I ever got on coyotes from Craig O'Gorman in Montana, the things that he's doing in Montana, you know, the landscape doesn't look the same. He doesn't have the same crop changes, doesn't have the same travel ways. I mean, coyotes are coyotes to an extent, but, you know, if you go out to Montana, the wide open, you know, prairie, the big mountains, and just the way that Montana looks, and try to translate that knowledge when you get back on the ground here in Missouri with trees, you know, over your head as far as you can see, and everything looks completely different, I think it would be harder to translate. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it wouldn't work, and I'm certain that if O'Gorman came down from Montana and started trapping in my backyard, he'd be racking up numbers that I couldn't even hope to. But to get started, I think, you know, the best thing to do is to find a class or an instructor who is going to be in an area, you know, the instruction is going to be in an area that's at least relatively close to what you're going to be trapping in. So it's going to be much easier for you to translate what you learn into actual, you know, action when you get out on your line, so you can, you know, implement those ideas and those techniques and tools that you pick up at the class or on the instruction at home. And it's not, you know, this big translation where you're trying to figure out, you know, well, it was a wide open prairie with a, you know, creek. We don't have any of those, so now I'm trying to translate that to, you know, a farm lane,